Hello friends, it's me, and today, why so popular? Let's check out food theory. Why is everyone going back to Chili's? From the food theorists. Together, let's go. Let's start.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, Chili's, baby back ribs. And suddenly, so does everyone else. You know who doesn't? Fast food. Because Chili's is back, but it's back with a vengeance. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that's always eating good in the neighborhood. And today, we're slowing
Hello Internet, welcome to Food Theory.
things down from fast food. We're keeping it easy, breezy, casual dining, that is. It feels like forever ago that Chili's, Applebee's, heck, even the Cheesecake Factory were at the forefront of dining. But for a long time, it's felt like they've been in constant decline, struggling financially, or just disappearing for good. They seem like a reminder of a bygone era, the early 2000s when frosted tips and boy bands reigned supreme. And yet, today, they still exist across the country. It's not exactly hard to find them, even if their Yelp ratings never seem to get higher than 2.5 stars. And I'm not here to knock casual diners while they're down, because the fact is, they're not. While it's true that they have had a hard couple of decades, I'm actually here to tell you that places like Olive Garden, the Cheesecake Factory, Chili's, and all the big casual chains are making a big comeback. Factors that were initially killing the industry in the last 10 years have suddenly done a total 180 and are now bringing it back from the dead. Not just a not going out of business comeback either, but a comeback so big that these establishments might finally put a stop to their biggest rivals, the fast food industry. But if we want to know where we're at now in this dining battlefield, we gotta understand how we got here. Casual restaurants started to emerge in the 1970s and 80s, mostly appealing to middle-class families who had two working parents. It was the fusion dance of high-end fine dining restaurants and the fast food places that had started to gain traction all across the country. These places were advertised as well-priced and allowed busy families to eat in a more casual atmosphere without compromising food quality. And boy, did people fall in love with them. Heck, you might even have some precious memories of your parents taking you to Olive Garden as a family night out and feasting on all-you-can-eat pasta and the subsequent stomach pain. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite casual dining chain, and then we can all argue about why Cheesecake Factory is actually the best one. But soon enough, casual
Something just have to include the subsequent stomach pain.
chains were cropping up everywhere, with IHOP as early as 1958 and all the others through the 70s and 80s, each with its own take on casual dining, be it the choice of cuisine or the aesthetic. Casual diners may have been made in the 80s, but they really got their stride in the 90s with some unforgettable commercials and of course the greatest jingle of all time. Chili's baby back ribs. If that doesn't get stuck in your head all day, you're dead inside. The thing that casual diners were never able to compete with though was fast food, specifically their prices. Fast food was able to offer low prices for their food, something casuals tried to counter by claiming the quality of their food was better. But unlike today, the quality of the food was less of a concern for consumers at the time. Both baby boomers and Gen X, the principal consumers during the 80s and 90s, are typically money-conscious generations. Casual diners were aware of this and did offer low prices, but not as low as fast food, which unfortunately was the key factor in their customers' food choices. A survey done in February this year asked people of varying ages what the reasons were that drove them to eat out. People aged 44 and over, that's our Gen Xers and Boomers, all scored the highest in the categories relating to money. Things like whether places added service charges and how affordable the items were on the menu. On the other hand, they were less interested in the quality of the items on the menu, which really just shows how fast food establishments won them over. It was never about quality, it was always about the cold, hard cash. Interestingly though, people aged under 27, that's our Zoomers, were way more concerned about the quality of food than the price, but more on that later. Despite money being the driving force for where consumers ate, casuals kept trying to drive home that they were selling an experience and quality food. And while this worked for some people, namely the middle class who could afford it, it didn't appeal to everyone in the same way fast food was able to. But you know what's always popular? Staying hydrated. And it's easy as can be with today's sponsor, Element. I'm gonna admit something publicly that I hoped I would never have to. My calves cramp so easily. All my life, playing sports or running races, sometimes even sleeping, I'd cramp up and be out of commission. It wasn't until I was much older that I realized it was being caused by an electrolyte imbalance. Element helps me stay hydrated and full of electrolytes without all the sugar and other iffy ingredients you may find in sports drinks. Honestly, since taking it regularly, I don't cramp up during my weekly soccer games with friends. Now all I have to worry about is taking a ball to the face.
So, football.
But even in my day-to-day, the potassium and magnesium in these gorgeous salt sticks keep me alert throughout the day. And the electrolytes also help keep my blood pressure from rising every time I hear Tom's grating voice. I typically have my watermelon element after breakfast.
Come on, Tom, come on.
To help keep me going all day. But when it's soccer time, I take the sweet and spicy mango chili to give me that extra kick. I've never had a flavor like it in a drink, and it just gets me going. But don't trust me and my super amazing refined palate. Try their flavors for yourself and tell me which ones you like. Get a free Element sample pack with every flavor with any purchase when you use my link, drinkelement.com/food-theory. If you give it a try and don't like it, it's risk-free. Give it away to a salty friend, your very own Tom, and Element will give you your money back, no questions asked.
Okay, personally, I do not know anyone in my friend group or family group named Tom. Sorry.
That's drinklmnt.com/food-theory or click the link below to get a free sample pack with any purchase. Thank you again to Element for sponsoring today's video. Now let's talk Chili's. Just because casual diners couldn't hold a candle to the mighty fast food industry didn't mean that the casuals were suffering. Sure, they might not have been number one, but those who could afford to eat at those places did. And as the number of households with 2 working parents was growing over the 90s, so too was the middle class population, the exact target for places like Applebee's, Olive Garden, and more. The 90s became the decade of casual diners where business really boomed. Do I need to sing the Chili song again? Because I will, it's a banger, but unfortunately, the following decade wasn't so kind. In the 2000s, casuals started to take a big hit as people stopped rolling in and the costs of ingredients started to climb. There were a lot of factors at play here, but the biggest one was the Great Recession during 2007 to 2009. Unemployment doubled and earnings decreased, with the average household income falling by almost 10%. Suddenly, people had less cash to spend dining out, and naturally, the sit-down casual diners saw a decline in visits. But this wasn't the case for all eating out options. During the recession, fast food chains saw little to no change in visits or sales. Their low costs kept people coming in, maybe a little less frequently, but not enough to make a big impact. But it wasn't just the recession that brought down casual diner chains, because as the economy began to improve and consumer spending increased, casual dining sales stayed stagnant, not improving in the same way the economy was. But there was another nail in their casual coffin: their food. During their heyday, the thing that kept them in the good graces of their customers was the idea that their food was a higher quality than icky Burger King or gross McDonald's. But then, in trying to cut back costs to stay afloat, more and more scandals started to hit the big names. Chili's got hit with a food poisoning lawsuit. Applebee's got hit with a food poisoning lawsuit. Olive Garden got hit with a food poisoning lawsuit. E. coli and salmonella.
Okay, bruh, that's a bit much, right?
Seem to just be a new permanent addition to the menus of every casual dining restaurant. And there's only so many times you can poison your clientele and not face some backlash. Poison me once, shame on you. Poison me twice, dude, what the oh no. During this time, millennials also got older and became principal consumers. And now that they could make their own decisions based on personal preference, their preference was to stay at home. The Buffalo Wild Wings CEO was asked about her thoughts on the decline of their chain, and she pinned it on them, saying that they're more attracted than their elders to cooking at home, ordering delivery from restaurants, and eating in quick-serve restaurants. According to her, the appeal of eating out and being social was a thing of the past. Millennials are typically the generation that likes to save time, the generation that most often purchases food from a deli, delivery, or fast food. And even the great power of nostalgia wasn't enough to reel them back in. Millennials find casual dining chains to be old and tired looking. Can't really blame us either. I know millennial gray is a thing, right, Amy?
Yeah.
Nailed it! But I'm pretty sure
Yeah!
50 Shades of Beige doesn't really make a person want to chow down on ribs. So while yes, the millennials are kind of to blame, places like Chili's and Applebee's dug their heels into the ground, right where their brands went too. And while sales remained on the okay-ish side in more recent years, the 1-2 punch combo that nearly destroyed casual diners was, to the surprise of literally no one, the pandemic. Casual dining sales plummeted, seeing 58% less traffic on average. This was a hit they couldn't afford afford to take. What was a growing issue for casual diners was accelerated by COVID. Fast food, on the other hand, continued to thrive, but the appeal of places like TGI Fridays was disappearing fast. And not just because no one has said TGIF since April 28, 1995, but because it no longer made sense to pay a higher cost for the food if people weren't actually getting the whole experience. Between that and inflation driving everything up, it felt like these restaurants were history. But fear not, theorists, because even though casuals were hurting in the aftermath of the pandemic, there was a big change. And it's all thanks to Gen Z. Just like how we millennials started to become consumers and influence the current trends, Gen Z have now done the same. And Gen Z's preferences are vastly different from the generations before. Gen Z loves dining out in general, with 62% of Zoomer diners in the US eating out at least once a week. It creates a boost for all sorts of dining experiences, but the reason casuals come out on top of this change in trend is that today's diners are becoming increasingly more interested in the quality of the food. In a survey asking people about their choices in food, they found that nearly 2/3 of people say the ingredients in a food or beverage have at least a moderate influence in what they buy. This goes the same for eating out, too. Another survey asking people's eating out habits showed that 47% of people's reasons for eating out was due to getting better quality than they could make at home. Totally different from the trends we were seeing in millennials. Suddenly, the quality of the food
totally not because they are unable to cook for themselves. Totally true. Yeah, definitely.
was found to be more important than the price of it. This was good for casual diners, and places like Chili's started taking note of this change in trends. The driving forces for the modern consumer to eat out were things like atmosphere, socializing, and seeking higher quality of food. Not only were the trends going in the favor of casual diners, but they also started to see the outcry from consumers about the price hikes in fast food chains, something we've talked about before on this channel. Applebee's and Chili's used it to their advantage and have been putting out promotions that, from a price standpoint, put them on par with fast food for the first time, but with the added bonus of being higher quality and offering a dining experience to lure in the Gen Z consumer. Chili's, for example, were offering a 3-for-me deal where you could get a burger, fries, and a drink for $10.99. Applebee's had their own really big meal deal, which gets you a burger, fries, and a drink as well for $9.99. Compare that to the average price of a Big Mac meal in the US of $9.29, and there's not much of a difference. Why not spend the same amount of money and get a good quality burger and a fun experience with your friends? Suddenly, for the first time in forever, casual dining has a leg up.
In the first time in forever.
On fast food, thanks to 3 simple reasons: the experience, the price, and the quality. Current consumers are looking to spend time in an experience that casuals can facilitate, with deals and happy hours that encourage you to go out with your friends. And on the other hand, prices of fast food are being forced to go up, meaning casual diners can finally compete on price for the first time in ever. And because our awareness of food quality has gone up, the appeal of eating somewhere with high quality food is even more appealing, something casual diners have been pushing from the start, and they've been slowly improving, and now we're reaping the rewards of. And while this is good news for people who want to go and order everything from the giant Cheesecake Factory menu, it's not good news for the clown, the king, and the whatever Jack from Jack in the Box is. Casual diners may be coming back, but these 3 reasons are the reasons why the fast food industry might see the decline casual restaurants did for so many years. But this time it would be for keeps, because they could do the same things casual restaurants did to bounce back, but here's the problem with that suggestion. McDonald's has built their success on speed, getting the food in your hands and you leaving, even to the point where they're trying to figure out how to make sure you never interact with the person to get your meal, like I saw on my road trip. McDonald's and other fast food joints thrive on how you can have a small building that people don't always sit in to eat. To create an experience for the consumer, they would have to completely upend their format and change every single restaurant, something they can't do quickly, easily, or cheaply. And cheap would be the name of the game for them, since they would have to really bring down their prices to fall back into the public's good side. But cheap more often than not means lower quality when it comes to food. It's almost a catch-22 for them, because if fast food places want to make their food higher quality to appeal to the modern consumer, their prices are gonna have to go up, something they're already under heavy fire for. Heck, I've made 3 episodes on the subject. Which brings us to the final point: price. McDonald's have gone on record saying that
I didn't know that the change in target audience affected so much. I didn't know that. It's like, wow, the preference from the younger generations is different from the older generations. But yeah, it's true, but it changes so much. Wow.
they can't lower their prices anymore. They're tapped out, and they're not alone. For these restaurants to lower their prices even more, it would mean being at a loss, which is something that they're starting to experience. They finally got a win with their $5 meals, but it's also led them to getting the biggest decline in their sales in 4 years. They've even started seeing their own cases of food poisoning starting to pop up, and if history repeats itself, something it really likes to do, this is spelling the beginning of the end of this decades-long battle between fast food and casual restaurants. We may have gotten our baby back ribs back, but the fast food industry is not loving it.
But having said that, Sandy mentioned decades-long battle. Right now it's the year 2024. Next decade is 2034. If they somehow manage to survive, the landscape will be different. It will be different target audience. The Gen Z will be old. So,
Hey, that's just a theory.
What's that?
A food theory. Barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce. Bon appetit. Well, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe. Thank you. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. Barbecue sauce. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Barbecue sauce. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Thank you.